Welcome to First Impressions, where we give our initial thoughts on comics, video games, movies, TV shows, or whatever heck we want. My name is K.C'arl Lee.
And I am Jaysen Headley.
And today we're going to give you our first impressions of comics, July 30th, 2014.
And as you guys know, our rating system is out of a 5-star system. That's 2 stars for our work, 2 stars for Eddie, and 1 very special star. We think it just needs a special star. Should we get started?
Yes.
All right. First book up this week was AndThenEmilyWasGone.
Yes. Number 1. This is from Comix Tribe or Tribe. Yeah, Comix Tribe. It's not a very well-known publisher, but I picked it up because I thought the art was kind of very interesting in it. You should see that. It reminded me a little bit of Shaky Kane, and I love Shaky Kane. And I read it, and I really, really liked it. I actually thought it kind of did remind me of a little bit of Joe Hill's Wraith. Actually. Oh, really? Even though there's an image in there that kind of reminded me of it, and it's because it's that type of dark horror, you know. And so I thought it really made me think of that, and I gave it a 4.
A 4? Wow, that's a good way to start off the week. Next up is Batman Eternal number 85. Oh, 17. Sorry. Comes out so often now, you know. Number 17.
Well, okay, I took these drugs today that it was supposed to. There's a daytime and a nighttime one. I took the nighttime one by accident, and so I was just so tired. I kept falling asleep. I always fall asleep a lot while reading a bunch of these issues, and this was one of them. And I don't know. There's just more of that supernatural aspect in this one than any previous issue, which was the part that I wasn't really on board with at first, in the first place, rather. And so it was just more of that, and it didn't sell me this time either.
Yeah. So much. You know, this issue, there were parts of this issue I liked more towards the end, where things were kind of like starting to move a little bit. But this issue kind of continued everything from last issue that I was kind of like meh about. What I do want to say about this issue, listen here, DC, Daughter of Joker is a stupid character. She's not even one-dimensional. She's like half-dimensional. It is such a stupid character. I love female villains. I love female characters, but this is just give her some depth or stop putting her in every Batman book, because she does literally nothing for me. I need her to have some other point than, I found Batman's face in the river. That's all she's got. You haven't even given her any story worth me caring about.
I feel like maybe she's gonna be some kind of cannon fodder, you know, for later on. She could die. But
fine, she can die right now.
But you know who she is, though? She's actually Harvey Dent's daughter.
Oh,
Duela Dent.
Good lord.
Duela Dent.
Yep, still don't care. Look at that. Now I know that, and I still don't care about her. That's because she's written so badly, because she's not a character. Anyway, I gave this a 2.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, kind of a weak issue. I hope that Batman Eternal gets better, because for a while it was like every week I was really into it, and right now I'm just like, oh, now I have to read Batman Eternal again? Oh,
I know. Now I'm going to have to question about, I just kind of bought it like, oh, it's solid, buy it, but now I'm going to have to question, do I want the next issue?
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Booties and Bodies, number 1. New Vertigo title. It's a miniseries. The premise is like there's 4 different timelines, different centuries, I guess, and it's not centuries.
Well, it's different
decades.
Decades, yeah.
Centuries.
Different time periods.
Yeah, different time periods of same murder, same victim in all the 4 different time periods, and 4 different artists. It's Cy Spencer, right? And what did I think? There's this narration in the beginning of it, and I was really confused on whose narration it was. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, is it that side or that side of the people talking? And that kind of confused me at first. Otherwise, I feel like there's something really worth checking out right now. So I'm still on board. I gave it a 4.
You know, for me, I like the concept and the idea behind this book, I think, more than I actually like the book. I like the idea of 4 different artists. I like the idea of different time periods kind of coming together. But a little bit like Cloud Atlas, that idea is a lot cooler than it actually ends up being in practice. The story was a little weak for me. I would like to see one more issue just to see if it maybe picks it up for me a little bit. But like I said, I love the concept. I love the idea of what they're doing here. I just wish that the story was a little bit more worth telling to have such a cool concept of, 4 different artists, 4 different time periods. That is awesome. The writing's just a little nit. I don't really care about the story yet, but we'll see if it picks up. I gave it a 3.
Yeah, I even wrote, it says not as good as the rating that I gave it, but what's behind it.
Yeah. I like what you're doing. Just do it a little bit better. All right. Chew Warrior Chicken Poyo. And this is a one shot. Oh, wow, that was really good. So as you guys know, Chew is my favorite ongoing series. I would read anything. They could just come out with a book of covers and I'd probably buy it. So being objective with Chew is very hard for me because I instinctually just want to give everything they come out with a 5. As far as this book is concerned, the only thing I really have to compare it to is the other Poyo book that came out about a year ago, I think. And I liked that one more. This one deals with Poyo going into like a fantasy world and fighting a bunch of vegetables and fighting a grocery mancer who can bring vegetables to life to fight for him. And it was good, but I kind of rate Chew based on how much I laughed during an issue, and this issue I laughed a little bit less than normal because it was a little bit not quite as funny. But here's the thing about Chew for me, even at its not best, it's still really great. The artwork is great, there are some really funny jokes in there, and it was good to see this character again, and I can't wait to see the next issue of Chew. I gave it a 4. So.
Oh, okay, that's still really good.
Yeah, I still really liked it. It just wasn't like 5 territory in Chew for me. So, but still pretty good. All right, next up, Hawkeye. Hawkeye number 19. You know, Hawkeye has not come out for a good 9 years, so it was really nice to see a new issue of this book come out. And even better than that is, I complained about this a while ago when the last issue came out. I love Kate Bishop, but they had done this thing where nothing had really changed in Clint Barton's storyline for a while. We'd kind of seen the same story rehashed from his dog's point of view, and then Kate Bishop's point of view, and then we went off and did this thing with Kate Bishop for 3 issues, which was like 10 years in this comic because it takes so long to come out. So it was great to see something finally progress in the story. And not only that, if you picked up this issue, you know this already, but they did this really cool thing where Clint Barton has gone deaf, so a lot of the issue is presented in sign language and pictures of the sign language. And you know what? It's not translated for you. And I think that's kind of freaking awesome that they didn't just put a translation at the bottom, because that would have been the easy route. They pretty much present most of the issue and the dialogue in the issue in sign language, with a few exceptions where he's like lip reading. Really great to see the story moving forward. I'm really excited to see what happens next. I just hope I don't have to wait 4 months for it to happen. I gave this a 5. Super original, super great. It's good to have you guys back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Justice League 32. Well, I don't know. I was also falling asleep during this one too. It was a struggle. But anyways, this one really is heavy on the Doom Patrol, and I think it's kind of nice that he kind of cut out a little niche for the Doom Patrol. I always get confused about who they were before pre-New 52, about where they kind of fit in and why they never really caught on. They always get a new series and then they die, because where they fit in, with all these other heroes and universes. And at a time it did in the 80s where they were just all, really like reject superheroes. I mean, because they looked grotesque, they just never fit in. And they kind of brought that back, but I didn't know too much about the Chief before, and I think they're bringing over from the pre-52 that he can't be trusted, and he's super manipulative in this and making those people think that they are freaks and that you need to be with us because no one else will accept you.
No one will love you except the Doom Patrol.
And I think that's good because it's a niche, and they're following up on that. And pre-52, he was also in a wheelchair. And so now with the last page with Lex Luthor, I was like, maybe it happens, right? So that's all I really had to say about it. You want me to tell you I did it?
Well, I'll talk about it a little bit. I liked the way they introduced the Doom Patrol, because for someone who hasn't really read Doom Patrol in the past, because they don't care, this actually made me care a little bit about them. They introduced all the characters, they introduced what was wrong with them. I like that. I like when a book introduces something new, something old, but that readers that are newer to this might not know about, and really explains it well. That's something that Justice League of America did when they first introduced all their characters. It's kind of a ragtag group, but they kind of explained where they were all coming from, and I like that a lot. There were a couple weird moments where the Doom Patrol is like, but aren't we supposed to save people? And he's like, but you're supposed to work for me. And then the Justice League showed up. It was a little hokey.
They all picked up cats and dogs and old women.
It's just too much. It's just too much. First of all, Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman are doing all kinds of things. They are not going to show up for one falling down building. Let's be very real here. The entire Justice League showed up because one building is falling down. Stop. I don't accept that.
Is that what happened? I can't remember.
Yeah, like one building is falling. You're like, oh, we have to go help them. Whatever. But I will say, I love this idea of this girl with this evil Green Lantern ring, and I like that we finally kind of figured out what that ring is trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I like that. Right.
I think as a villain, that ring is really cool.
I like
the
whole multiverse thing.
Yeah, like I'm trying to create a fire to bring the monster to the... I love that.
Okay,
that was
like
great.
That
so that was a nice surprise. So there were a couple hits, there were a couple misses. I'm going to give this guy a 3.
I ended up giving it a 4 because I figured if all my senses were actually there, I probably would have liked it more. And I liked all the tiny little elements that represent the baby, the whole multiverse thing, and then Lex Luthor and all that crap.
It's on the cusp of a 4 for me. It was a 3.
Yeah, and Rita, she's always like, if I get depressed, I'm gonna fall.
Oh yeah, that was great. I love that too. All right, next up is the new Remender book, Low. It's really interesting, by the way, to see Remender come out right now with a new book because he's under so much scrutiny at the moment. Which, you know, love it or hate it, we're not going to go into that right now, but it's interesting to see him come out with a new book. I freaking love the artwork in this book so much. And I love the idea of what he's trying to tell. I think at times, and I always say this when a book has really stylized artwork, and then the writing is a little bit like they speak in the language of their world, kind of. It's a little bit hard to follow sometimes if, you know, I'm reading a panel and nothing is really relatable from our world. It's just all words that only this world were used, and then I can't really tell what's going on because the art is so stylized. It gets a little hard to follow, but overall, really enjoyed it. What do you think?
Yes, I agree with that. I actually wrote that it was dirty.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little dirty.
It is.
And I always feel like every single book he comes up with is always this, you know, semi-futuristic sci-fi thing, so it didn't seem very new to me. In that aspect, it's just now it's like underwater or something. But I read the last page, his little, you know, his, not forward, but his, I don't know, backward. I don't know.
Like how he came up with the story.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, it's an afterword.
It was great, yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is good. I really like it. And it's very, there's a very cool full circle aspect to the first issue. Like, it's pretty complete, you know. It doesn't resolve the whole thing, but it brings it back to the beginning, and it's really good like that. And I love the kids. I love the story that he's trying to tell about optimism and stuff like that. And so there's a lot to like about this. There's much more layers, I think, in there. It's all about family and stuff in this whole crazy sci-fi setting. Even though it was really confusing, certain things I didn't really get. I wanted to give it a 5 almost, but I give it 4 instead.
Yeah, I give it a 4 as well. I'm really interested to see another issue. And it's just a side note, you know, Remender in the back in his afterword he talks about a lot of really personal things. And kudos to you for putting all those personal things in your book and really talking about how you came up with your ideas and going into therapy. And that's pretty brave to put all of that in your book. So thank you for that.
Pessimistic.
Yeah, I really liked that. It was very human. Makes me, you know, want to know more about your ideas and how you work.
Yeah, and he's challenging himself.
Yeah, I love that. It's as a writer, it's really inspiring. So I like that a lot. Thank you for that. Cool. All right, next up is, it's funny that I read this and you didn't.
Yeah, Mind Management. I originally got the first issue a long time ago to give it a chance, and I just never got on board, and I just never got it again. This is like an issue where you can jump on board, even says up there on the top. A great jumping on point for new readers. And it's issue 24, and we were debating whether to get it, and I said, oh, I'll just get it. And Jaysen was completely not interested, and because I was so half asleep, I didn't get a chance to read it. Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. Forget it.
It's white.
Forget it. So Jaysen read it.
Yeah. Okay, so coming on to this as someone who didn't really want to read it, and someone who hasn't read any of the past Mind Management, I didn't even know what it was about. I will say, right off the bat, the artwork is freaking gorgeous. I mean, it's using this like pastel watercolor kind of look to it, and I really like the artwork. The story did confuse me. I don't know if it's the best jumping on point for new readers because I was a little bit lost, but there was a lot of good dialogue in here. There was a lot of good artwork in here. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, a lot of people really, really love Matt Kindt, and I can see why. I would like to know, I feel like I would give this a different rating if I knew more about the story and what was going on, what was happening, because there were a lot of things where I was like, I feel like I would know what's going on if I had read more of this. But overall, just based on artwork and not really knowing too much, kind of coming into this blindly, I'm gonna give it a 3, and that's not bad. You know, I love the artwork, and I feel like if someday I go back and read My Management, I'd probably really like this issue.
That's
so,
great.
Cool.
Actually, the art's the biggest detractor for me.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Detractor.
Detractor. Oh, you didn't think it. Ah, well, it's gorgeous.
I don't think it's No, I mean, it's just, it's just a preference.
Yeah.
Whatevs.
Yeah. All right.
Don't take offense, all right?
Don't take offense. Next up.
It's not personal. Nightbreed 3. What did I think? Jaysen seemed to think that I didn't like the previous issues and that why would I get it? But I remember I did like it in this aspect that it's continuing origins of these characters that I'm familiar with from the book and from the movie. And so this is more of that, but this one's even better, I thought, than the previous two. I was more interested in the characters that they were showcasing, and it also takes place in the present and in the past, which tells origin stories. And I'm really kind of curious where it's going, where the whole end game is. And Clive Barker did the story, but Mark Andrico is writing it. And there's some really cool things in there, like this one of the what do you call them? I forgot what they call them. The people from Midian. Anyways, one of them has these egg babies, and 3 like human babies come out of them, and one of them starts saying like the oh my god, I don't even know what you call it. I'm really ignorant of this. Okay, so the baby starts reciting the Lord's Prayer.
Okay.
And it is a cute little bald little baby.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just interesting. So I liked it, and
cool.
I gave it a 3.
Oh, awesome. All right. Next up, you didn't read this, right?
No, I really want to read Outcast.
I really wanted to eat this.
Because I think we both gave it a 5 in the first issue, and I thought it was so solid. It was really, really good. So I really wanted to read this, but I couldn't. I didn't have time.
This is Outcast number 2. I'll say it again because I think it's important to know that I'm trying to be very objective. Kirkman is literally one of my least favorite writers in the comic book world right now. I cannot stand that everybody loves his work, and I always think that it's really derivative and really silly. But you know what? I still like Outcast. It's better than a lot of his stuff because I feel like the characters have a little bit more heart to them. I feel like I definitely am curious to know what's going on in this world. They're definitely playing on kind of the religion side of things and kind of how religion can be very helpful to people, but it can always also be something that people use to manipulate other people. I think that's really interesting. Had a good twist at the end. I really like the main character. I like that this character went through a lot of, getting beaten up when he was growing up by his family and people that were close to him, and now he's sort of struggling through that. So yeah, despite my feelings, I do like this book.
Don't say it. How did you compare it to the first?
I thought it was a little bit slower than the first. The first definitely had like a lot of big moments of big action. This is a little bit quieter.
Did it still feel like a movie to you? Because I felt like it was a really good
Yeah, it still feels more like that slow point after your initial big bang, where you're kind of getting to know. You get to know the characters a little bit more, and that's okay. I liked getting to know the characters in this town and kind of this main character, especially what he's gone through in the past. I gave it a 4.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And last but not least,
number 10, the finale, which I also did not read because I'm not caught up.
All right. The Wake is an interesting book. I actually just got caught up last night. I was a few issues behind. What I can say for The Wake and the 10 issues, and we even talked about this last night, even at Scott Snyder's worst, he's still amazing.
Yeah,
the first 5 chapters of this I found to be much more interesting than the second 5 chapters. Although the second 5 chapters were really interesting, and I really like the point that he came to in this last issue, and how he kind of talks about, how life is an adventure, and how we just have to be willing to take that adventure, and how, he really makes a point about civilization and how we kind of destroy rather than just enjoy, and I think that was great. The artwork, I love Murphy's artwork. Oh my god, do I love his artwork. He could draw all kinds of books and I would read them. And I love Snyder as a writer. So, talking about the objectivity thing again, I come at this issue with a lot of love without even having read a single word. But even after reading it, I really enjoyed it. It was a good climax to the series, so I'm gonna give it a 5.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, it just was really solid. And you know what? I like the idea of a 10-book series, something that's short and sweet and doesn't come out every week and make me go crazy like Batman Eternal. Cool.
Yo, that's it. It was a small week.
Yeah, thank goodness. Last couple of weeks were like 80,000 books.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So this will be a nice shorter episode for you so you won't get bored and fall asleep like I do.
Well, Yeah. Well, guys, we've had a lot of you start to comment and let us know how you're feeling about everything, and we love that. Keep it up. We love the comments. We love reading what you guys think. Tell your friends to watch the show. If you're new to the show, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also follow us at our blogs. We do weekly blogs, and you can check those out. We'll put those in the description down below. You can follow me on Twitter at @KukamungaCat. You can follow K.C'arl on Twitter at @KarlKLee. I think that's all we have to say.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, next week, y'all.
Ooh, unless we do a Guardians of the Galaxy. First impressions, I think. Awake?
Yeah.
You awake? Okay. It's not awake.
Welcome to First Impressions!
Can't do that.
Welcome to First Impressions!